Hey Raiders, what's going on? Welcome back to the How to Be a Better Raider series. I'm Jaxscer, one of the raid leaders from the casual raiding guild Reservoir Troggs on US Thrall, and today we're going to talk about character simulation and how to improve your DPS by knowing what is the best piece of gear in your bag. If I open my bags real quick, I can notice that I have a lot of pieces of gear, and especially with the azerite traits, I don't know which azerite traits I should be doing. I constantly get questions from my raiders like, should I stack 2 Archives of the Titans or should I go with a different trait? And usually what I tell them is go ahead and run a character simulation using a web page called Raidbots. To do this though, you're going to need a few add-ons. And the first add-on we're going to talk about is Simulation Craft. To get Simulation Craft, you'll just go to Twitch app, go to your add-ons, get more add-ons, type in Simulation Craft, install it, restart WoW, and then you're ready to get a simulation. Always open your bag and your banks so that it can capture all of your gear, and then we're going to press /simc, and that'll open a window that has all your gear ready to be copied. So you're just going to hit Control-C to copy that, close the window, and we're ready to go to our first web page, which is Raidbots. Raidbots runs Simulation Craft in the cloud, and it's used to optimize your World of Warcraft character. So we're going to start with our top gear, and if we go into our top gear, you'll notice that there's a paste input from Simulation Craft add-on. So I already have some information in here. I'm just going to hit Control-V to paste the new information that I just copied out, and at this point you'll see that all of the gear that I had in my bags has now come up. Raidbots has a premium account and a free account. So I highly suggest that if you're going to be using this a lot, go ahead, give them a couple bucks over 6 months and help support their website. If not, you can run this for free, but just be known that your iterations and your combinations are going to be limited. So like I said, I want to know what piece of gear and what traits are the best for me. So I'm going to select this 370 and compare it to this 370. And I'm going to check these different azerite traits and see which one is best for me by clicking on them. And when they're highlighted, it tells me that I have them selected. So I'm going to go through really quick, see if I have anything I want to check. Not really. And right now I'm at 192 combinations, which would be 960,000 for 1.5 iterations, 1.5 million iterations. So I also don't really need to know whether quick navigation or masterful navigation are. I'm just going to keep these selected. And then I'm going to come down here and I'm going to make sure that I'm set to a patchwork fight that's 5 minutes long. And I'm going to go on the weekly build. If you're doing Mythic Pluses, you can change this around for cleave add, set it to 4 bosses, 1 minute fights. But mostly I'm using this for raiding. So I want it to be closer to what a normal fight would be. Like on Fetid Devour, I might knock this down to 3 minutes because we use the Zerg strat. So I'm also going to make sure that I have optimal raid buffs, and then I'm going to hit Find Top Gear. At this point, if you're not a premium member, you're going to be put in a queue. The queues are usually pretty short, and then it's going to run a Simulation Craft, and it's going to show you the logs, all the combos it's running. And then it's going to come up with your top gear selection. Now, I just ran myself a second ago. We'll see if it changes at all. I had 15,565 as my DPS, is on a perfect fight, 0 latency, perfect rotation. I don't run that way. It's still running the process right now. We'll see what it comes up with. There, it just finished. It's generating my report. At this point, it says that I should be getting 15,760, which is, well, that's a pretty big increase. So at this point, it's telling me that I should probably be using the Honor Bound piece, 370 piece, and I should be using the Loop of Pulsing Veins with Mastery versus instead of Haste. Down here, it shows all the combinations and how much difference there were between the two combinations. So about a 1% or higher, I'm going to want to choose. Because anything less than 1%, I'm going to lose with my latency, my messed up rotation. But when you're talking 300 or 400 DPS, maybe you should take its suggestion. So at this point, I'm going to take its suggestion. I'm going to switch these pieces of gear out when I get back into the game. But I also want to see what my stat weights are. So I can come down here. So the input was too large for the display. I thought there was a way to check my stat weights using this. So let's do this. We're going to go in and we're going to take its recommendation and change those two pieces of gear out. So I'll open that up. I'll change that to the honor bound piece. I'll change my ring. Was it infinite voids or pulsing veins? So pulsing veins. Do I have a mastery? I do. So we'll put pulsing veins on there. And now we'll capture all that data again. SimC, copy, hit OK. And now we're going to do a stat weights comparison. So at this point, we're going to come back in. We're going to go to RaidBots. We're going to click on stat weights. Let it open up. We're going to import back from the SimC. Although you could, if there wasn't any major changes and stuff, you could just load yourself from Armory. We're going to use the same exact settings, 3-minute patchwork fight on the weekly. And then we're going to generate our stat weights. Now, don't get discouraged if you're not getting these results. These results are a perfect rotation done by a computer with 0 latency. Most people run between a latency of 30 and 100. Some people run a little higher, but all that input latency over time adds up. The same thing with is you're going to be moving slightly in fights, making different choices than the computer made, and you might not have a perfect rotation. So if you're getting 12K out of this 15K, you're doing pretty darn good. So here we are with our stat weights. It tells us that we should be pulling just under what it said here, but our stat weights now, our haste is 1.6, which is higher than our intellect, which is kind of weird because it just told us to switch one of our loop of pulsing veins to mastery. So, oh, wait, I'm on the wrong one. I apologize. Let me get rid of that. So here we are. Mastery, haste. Yeah, so it's saying the haste is still our top one. Intellect, followed by that. Now, if you use the add-on pawn, you can copy this string into your clipboard, come back into the game, click on pawn, go to scale. I'm just going to delete some of these. I don't want to show that. How do I... There we go. I'm going to delete these. It's going to force me to type delete. And then I'm going to import that. Control V, hit OK. And this gives me my new stat weights. So stat weights are used for quick comparison, like which one of these gloves is better or which enchant it might suggest. So now if I go to, it's going to say that I should be going Quixal's Eye or things like that. So that's this quick video on this topic. Hopefully it helped. Tell me what websites in the comments that you use to sim your character, or do you just use the regular Simulation Craft program? And if you do, have you had any issues with it? Do you like RaidBots? I like RaidBots. I think it makes simming your character much easier. And stay tuned for more videos. Don't forget to like or subscribe, and remember to always enjoy the raid.